I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. Tell these salty motherfuckers to tell the truth. Tell politicians to give up the rooms. Tell silent voters to stand up to the booth.
God, it's me. Can you hear my plea? Feeling like I'm lost in this world, can't you see? Demons creeping in, trying to take control of me. But I'm just trying to find the light, trying to break free. I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. But why you keep forgetting me? What did I do? Trying to have a convo, but you starting to preach. Feeling like I'm on a leash. Can't find no peace, find no peace. Living in hell, can't you hear my plea? I'm suffocating, can't you see? Why you let these false prophets roam free? While the well-run suffer, can't you see? I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. Why you keep targeting me? What did I do? Trying to have a convo, but you starting to preach. Feel like I'm on a leash, can't find no peace.
Hardest battles, strongest soldiers, greatest burden, broadest shoulders, pushing up just like these boulders. This conflict like it's water, so this mercy, take my chalice, seeking grace through all this malice. All of these salty motherfuckers could give out.
Politics and senators, they all the same. Got me stuck in this endless game. But I won't give up, won't play the role. Gotta do what's best
for my soul.
I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. Tell these salty motherfuckers to tell the truth. Tell these politicians to give up the room. Tell silent voters to stand up to the booth. Living wild but truthfully free. God keep on watching over me. Take my pleas and keep the receipts. I just want.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. So this morning I want to talk about fraud, power, and fire. The state of the streets. But before we get into all that, right, I want to get into a new joint by Louis Blaze. I don't know why it's acting weird today. Kill shit. So with that being said, Louis Blaze, kill shit.
He stroke. Squad. He stroke. 2019. Love, I'm focused, finna have my diamonds frozen. You can say I'm one of the dopest, underrated, chosen poets. Knew I always had the potion, just now put the train in motion. Any day it could be that moment, niggas say rip it off like lotion. Last May I was at my lowest, this May I'ma be on top, cause I see my soul is golden. If you don't believe me, just watch, I'ma put the game on lock. They gon' love me like they love Pac. You can never smell when I'm cooking, still the people shine like the rock. I got one shot and I can't miss, I'm Nike with it, UK Swiss, cause I just do it. Got to influence, never fabricated, always been the truest. Grab a mic and I be going stupid, steady giving lessons, everybody students. See I got the juice and I be dreaming lucid, so they tryna copy how a nigga moving. I've been really working, what you doing? Yeah, got so many dreams and I'm pursuing. Yeah, back when I was broken, I was ruined. Yeah, they ain't really think that I could do it. Yeah, but I leveled up on the real quick. Now me and the team finna kill shit, and they wanna hang cause we real lit. Just watch how it be when we real rich. Yeah, I'm finna go get a meal quick, so we finna all see a meal quick. Yeah, I'm finna go get a meal quick, so we finna all see a meal quick. Oh yeah.
That boy back with a vengeance. Black boy back on a mission. I see racks on racks in my vision. I can see the hate from a mile back. Probably cause we go the distance. Probably cause we so relentless. Great whites in the way for the fishes. Kill shit. Tag the toe, bagged and rope, drag the hoe off a cliff. Laughing, bro, you has to go. Tired of all these capping folk. They bragging while they rapping folk. They action so irrational. My ammunition blasting hoe like black. Me and Louis bombing Nagasaki. Turn a high flyer to a kamikaze. You a tight liar, but you rhyming sloppy. I'm the truth with it, you a carbon copy. Sleeping on me, hope you comatose. Taking shots, hope you overdose. I've been focused like a telescope, making hella moves, I don't tell them no.
I've been really working, what you doing? Yeah, got so many dreams and I'm pursuing. Yeah, back when I was broken, I was ruined. Yeah, they ain't really think that I could do it. Yeah, but I leveled up on the real quick. Now me and the team finna kill shit, and they wanna hang cause we real lit. Just watch how it be when we real rich. Yeah, I'm finna go get a meal quick, so we finna all see a meal quick. Yeah, I'm finna go get a meal quick, so I was broken, I was ruined. Yeah, they ain't really think that I could do it. Squad.
That was Kill Shit, Louis Blaze. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope everybody's doing good this morning. It's Thursday. Well, here at the Urban Conservative, and I'm going to talk about fraud, power, and fire, right? The state of the streets. But before we get into all that, right, there's a couple things that I want to play this morning. One of them has to do with the end of the Defeating Our Future trial. That was yesterday. And did we get the answer that we were looking for? You know, here's the thing that I will say about when it comes to feeding our future, right? I will say this, is that I don't believe that that was justice and accountability. I do believe that that was people getting found guilty of doing crimes. I don't see that as a community getting accountability, justice, because to be honest, you exposed a couple of people, but not everybody. You know what I'm saying? You went after certain people, but not everybody. So listen to, I think this is Fox 9, about feeding, Fox 9 about feeding our future.
Right to it. So walk us through the guilty verdicts, and let's just start there.
Well, a number of counts here, 23 different counts. Some of those were against Said individually, some of them against Aimee Bock individually. There were then some of them that were against both of them. So it broke down that Aimee Bock had 7 counts against her. Salim Said had 21 counts against him, but again, total of 23 counts with that mixture in there. And they were found guilty on every single one of them as they went down. It was just guilty all the way down the board. And this is sort of what you would expect based on the timing here. If you've covered a lot of trials as we have since the jury began deliberating at 9 o'clock this morning, you know, you thought based on the preponderance of the evidence here that the government laid out. I mean, that's why this trial went into its 6th week, is because the prosecution took a long time because there were so many witnesses, so much evidence, so much paperwork that it was pretty overwhelming. And so we thought that it might be a quick verdict based on that. I thought it might come yet late in the afternoon. This came a little bit earlier than I thought. But again, shows you that it didn't take long for these jurors to decide that the government had made its case and that it was guilty all the way down the board. And again, beginning at 9, and we got word of the verdict, before 2 p.m. is when we were told. I'm losing track of time now. It's been a bit of a whirlwind here in the last 45 minutes, but so completely guilty. At the end, you know, it takes a while to get through that, and then they have to pull the jurors. And then there's a discussion of release versus detention. You know, Bock and Said had been released from custody throughout this, but as the judge made clear that the law is that convictions here require detention unless the judge rules that they shall rule that if there's no threat to flee or threat to the community, that they can make an exception. So release is the exception, and she decided that this exception is not one that she would make. So they were both taken into custody. You could see that Aimee Bock here before the verdicts were read, you know, I could see understandably, you know, that she was kind of shaking here. And, you know, of course, that's going to be in any case. I mean, it's a very nerve-wracking moment for a defendant. And then after the verdicts were read, hers were read first, guilty of all the 7 counts against her. And she just kind of put her head down and looked at the table in front of her. Salim Said, as his counts were read, was just eyeing the jury. And then they polled the jurors, too, to say, is this your true and accurate verdict? And Salim Said did watch that, but Aimee Bock never looked up. Obviously, a lot of emotion as they were then taken into custody by U.S. Marshals here, tears, crying, You know, so there you go.
Yeah, and Rob, you know, at what point would we or not learn about the jury makeup? You know, who were the people who made this decision?
Well, I don't know that, you know, they remain anonymous. You know, I can tell you it was 7 men and 5 women. I was here for that jury selection. I took a lot of notes on that, but not all of them, and they're referred to by number, so I'd have to cross-reference who was what. They are now able to speak publicly about it, whether they would choose to speak to the media or not. That's rare. It does happen. But you know, you find a case here and there where somebody will. But the judge is going to meet with them for a while here first. She acknowledged that this has been an enormous amount of time, and that it was an enormous amount of evidence to consider as well, but just a huge undertaking for them in their life. I mean, this is the 6th week of this.
Yeah.
We haven't had a full week, I should note too. We had some Fridays off. There was a Monday for a holiday, a couple other days where we had off that the judge had conflicts. There was the day of that snowstorm that we had off. So there were a number of days where we were off. So we've had, this is, I believe, the 20th actual working day over that time.
Okay. Rob, how close are you to the press conference? I know you got to get over there. Do you need to head out?
I can take a couple more minutes, but then I need to head down, to the press conference. The U.S. attorneys will be holding a press conference. There you see a live shot now of the podium in their press conference room.
Yeah.
I got to get down there here in a couple of minutes, but yeah, I can take a couple more minutes if you have any more questions.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you talked a little bit about the reaction of Aimee Bock and Salim Said. His case as a defendant in this seemed so overshadowed, just even in time spent on this. I'm curious if either of them, do you know if either of them had people in the courtroom who were there for them, family members, other supporters for them?
Today I couldn't see. I was way on the far end. During the trial, hard to say. It didn't appear to be. There could have been from time to time, because there's some members of the public that would come in and out, but I don't know who they were. So if they were, it wasn't obvious, I would say. But certainly, yeah, he does get overshadowed to the extent that on trial with Aimee Bock, the head of Feeding Our Future, which the government said none of this would have been possible without her and Feeding Our Future, because everything went through her. She approved all the sites. She made the applications to the state for the sites. She submitted the claims to the states. She got the money back and then sent it back out. So it all went through her. She was able to, have a layer of separation between her and others that had been charged and pled guilty in this conspiracy, since others were maybe collecting kickbacks here and submitting meal counts, et cetera. And she had a number of staff. But yeah, he was part of a group, it's a Safari restaurant, and then he opened, Stigma Free International, and they opened up sites in Wilmer, Mankato, St. Cloud, etc. And so he was part of a much larger group then that claimed to be vending food, but it showed in their bank accounts, and the bank records were pretty, a lot of the stuff was striking. The bank records were pretty striking when it showed that millions went into the bank accounts for his various entities, but between 1% and 4% of that money went out to purchase food. Looks like they're starting to get ready, so I'm going to head down there.
I want to let you head. Okay, we'll check back in with you in a couple minutes. Place, Rob.
Yeah, so there was. I mean, like, to be honest, Feeding Our Future has been crazy. I'm going to be honest, but to me, it seems like they're only going after a certain crowd. Not everybody, but only just a certain crowd. And it shouldn't be like that. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be like that at all. But I want to get into another story about a senator who got caught in the dark. And I know that's crazy to say it like that, but it's crazy when you have a state senator. So the Senate got done. They adjourned at 5:17. At 5:49, he was being pulled over. He was getting out of his tray. He was arrested. So it's like, that's not making any sense. So you mean to tell me that 29 minutes later, you were already doing something that you were soliciting sex to a 17-year-old for sex. After you authored and presented a bill called TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome, and then you use code words that obviously you know them words. You used them before, so that means this wasn't your first time. And to know that you've been a senator since 2017, I believe it is, 2016, and it's like you're married, you have kids, and it's like these are the type of people that we vote for.
Well, Governor Walz also just responded to the arrest and federal charges filed today against State Senator Justin Eichorn, who's accused of trying to solicit someone he thought was a teenage girl. We have team coverage on this story, starting with Danny Spiewak.
Danny, there's some pretty shocking allegations in the charging documents. Is that right?
Yeah, and for that reason, Governor Walz says that he believes that Eichorn should resign his seat. He said that just in the last hour or two in a news conference after coming out of a budget meeting with legislative leaders. Walz says he supports Senate Republicans who issued a second demand today for Eichorn to resign, saying that with the charges coming out, it only reinforces the idea that he should step down from the caucus. Eichorn was charged both state and federally, but the state charges were dismissed so that the U.S. attorney can take over. According to those federal charges, Eichorn responded to an online ad for sex that Bloomington police posted as part of a sex trafficking operation. Prosecutors say Eichorn communicated with an undercover officer between March 11th and March 17th, asking if the officer was available and discussing rates at one point. The federal criminal complaint includes a text message from Eichorn where he says, it says age of consent is 16. Over 18 is in a position of authority. Walz says he wants to stay consistent here and call for Eichorn's resignation just as he called for DFL Senator Nicole Mitchell to step down as she awaits trial in a felony burglary case.
I would hope people don't use it for political leverage, but use it as an opportunity to join together, that you cannot prey on our children and expect to get away from it. That's a big deal.
Now, on the DFL Senate side, Leader Erin Murphy has not yet called for the resignation of Eichorn on the Republican side. She says that the allegations are deeply disturbing, raise a lot of questions, but has not called for his resignation, just as she has not called for Mitchell's resignation in the DFL caucus. However, an individual senator, Senator May Quaid, saying today in her own statement that she believes that Eichorn should resign as soon as humanly possible, in her words. Back to you.
Danny, we are in an active legislative session. What does this do with him not in the chamber right now? And if he does resign and they have to do a special election, is that what would happen next?
Yes, if he were to resign, there'd be a special election, and it's a Republican seat. He represents Grand Rapids in north central Minnesota. But without him there, it would put the Republicans down 2 in the Senate. And then this is just going to be another item of business that senators have to deal with. Tomorrow, it's possible Senate Republicans could bring a motion to expel him. They can't talk to him right now, though, because he's in jail. So he can't even resign right now because there's a process you have to go through. But he's sitting in custody in downtown Minneapolis.
All right, Danny, thank you.
Well, now let's talk about the ramifications of Eichorn's arrest. Ian Russell is here, who spoke with the former U.S. attorney late this afternoon.
Yeah, we spoke with Erica McDonald. She's the former U.S. attorney for the District of Minnesota. She says it's really not all that surprising to see those federal charges brought on here, especially considering what those charges lay out. They allege Eichorn asked what he thought was a 17-year-old girl when she was available over the span of about a week, even discussing, as they mentioned, the age of consent. Eichorn was arrested on Monday. Charging documents allege he also used language that McDonald says indicates knowledge of doing this previously, including acronyms for visits lasting different amounts of time. If convicted on those federal charges, he would spend at minimum 10 years in prison.
The fact that he is referencing the age of consent, according to the allegations, in other words, saying, well, you're over the age of 16, 16 is the age of consent, absent any abuse of authority. That's really, really telling of somebody who is cognizant of what he's doing. He's done it before, and he knows exactly who he's targeting.
Wow.
Now, McDonald told me in her experience as a U.S. attorney, she thinks that if he is convicted, he'll receive somewhere between that minimum of 10 years and 14 years as well.
That's just so sad all around, and it's incredibly sad for his family.
That's crazy.
4 kids. All right, thank you, Ian.
Right.
You can sell this $5.
Wow. To me, that's insane. Wow. The news that comes out of out of Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? I know people they pay attention to certain things, but I will say this: radio is off the chain. It's been a crazy ass week, man. I will say that. It's been a crazy ass week because there's a lot of things that are happening that, I didn't believe that was going to happen. I didn't believe that was going to take into an effect. But I will tell you like this: there's no ceasefire. Nobody's stopping doing what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Just because meetings are being had, and I don't care about what you do in the dark. What are you doing in the light? You know what I'm saying? Because we've already know about some of the shit you've already done in the dark. We want to know what's being done in the light. Because that's one thing Minneapolis isn't doing, is being transparent. And that really, it trips me out. It's like, why isn't Minneapolis being transparent? Why aren't they? Don't they want the community to get better? Don't they want the truth? Doesn't the community want to live in unity? I don't understand that. Right? Because literally, like, this is the one, you got crooks sticking up for crooks. And there's proof. There's proof that Twin Cities Refuge was working with New Hope Baptist Church, was working with other churches. And then you have those pastors coming up and hey, listen up, bro, because there's allegations out here, and then there's paperwork behind it. There's paperwork. It's not, and then there's questions. That's what I don't understand. And it's like, to be honest, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? But I'm tired of the community being screwed over. And then people just talk about it like it's not like, oh, it's just Minneapolis. Who cares? Because I will tell you like this, is that you got a state senator from Grand Rapids coming down to the Twin Cities and will change legislation. But as long as he's not getting caught, he can do whatever he wants to do, but he's going to make it hell. I don't understand it. And at the end of the day, we need to call a spade a spade. A spade a spade. A spade a spade. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't understand that a lot of people will put information out here and be like thinking they're doing something. No. It's been 5 years and I'm still, that's the crazy part. And to be honest, I don't care. I get told this all the time. Don't talk about it. Why not? I'm not scared to talk about it. I'm not scared to look in the mirror and talk about my problems. That's the one thing. I'm not scared to talk about anything that's going on in my life. I'm an open book. What you see is what you get. I am what I am. I am what I am. I'm not the brightest bulb on the planet. I'm a work in progress. But one thing is that when you can see that certain information, when you talk about certain shit, or, people get their panties in a bunch, you're on to something. If you went over to 36th and Penn, no one would have said crap and picking up an underage. Right. Because nobody talks about all the deaths that go on over there. They're not talking about that. They're talking about how he went out to, somebody sent me something that there is on where he got arrested at 80301 or whatever, some kind of, it's like Dave and Buster's or whatnot. It's not called that, but it's like that. It's like some kind of, so it's like, just because okay, listen, man, the man was caught with a condom. Like, how can you put that in any other sense that what he planned to do was to get him some ass? You came with a condom. Like, come on, man. Like, and you're married, and then you're asking questions. Can I do a bear? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't bring the condom, then I could see like, yeah, you're probably going out there because it would make sense. You would believe. You know what I'm saying? You're arrested at Senate is over at, you adjourned at 5:17, and then 5:49, you're arrested for soliciting a minor, prostitution. And it's like, wait, what? It's like, damn, that's crazy. And it's like when all the whole story comes out, you're like, how the fuck is this possible? But then these are the legislation, these are the things that the bills that we allow. You know what I'm saying? Because I will tell you like this. I've gotten at least 5 messages and calls the last 2 days. Bless up. The 5 calls and tell me to be safe. So then I'm like, well, there's another person's name that's all over this shit. Why aren't they? And I see that, when it comes to like L. Flowers or Jerry McAfee, they had issues with. So I'm like, what's up with that shit? Because I will tell you like this, but you can look on my Facebook and Twitter, I never talked about Don Allen the way that I do now. Because here's the one thing, the name comes up all the time. It's not me. Here's the thing of it is, it doesn't matter if it comes to, back in history when it comes to, city problems, or if it came to public school problems, NAACP problems, like he was always there. I'm just doing my due diligence. I'm doing my research. And then everything comes up. And then, when I got close to, let's say, Philip Murphy, and I was like, damn, because Philip, rest in peace. Even with Mel, that's the one, me and Mel had a great relationship, and people don't even realize that. I'm not saying that, I don't know what kind of man Mel was personally, other than the times that I saw him and I spent with him. You know what I'm saying? Because there was times where he would come down to Minneapolis, downtown, and he would conversate. He would have conversations. You know what I'm saying? So when now that, but I understand of like, and a lot of this shit makes sense to a degree, to a point. You know what I'm saying? Because when you go back far enough, you see a lot of names and you're like, wait, why are these people all over this? And then yet who do you see today? Anytime some bullshit comes up, you find their names in it. So what does that tell you? Because I will tell you like this morning on radio. No, never mind it. Because y'all don't care. Y'all don't care. Y'all care about a narrative, not the truth. You don't care that there's people on the city council of Minneapolis that have said that Jerry McAfee was a federal informant. But y'all don't hear that. And the fact that they have contracts. Man, y'all better open up, wake up. Whatever you want to do, wake up. Smell the coffee. That because it's crazy as hell. Of like, this is the one crazy thing of it is. Somebody told me yesterday, they was like, a lot of people don't even know that if it wasn't for you and Robert, there wouldn't even really probably be a fraud committee like this. Because it wasn't something that they were talking about. Because they didn't know, supposedly. Because we had to bring it to them. We had to bring the waste, the fraud to them. And still they didn't. I still have, the crazy thing of it is that there's still people today that do not believe that Jula Dora is AI. Even though that I get it, that it's a computer, and all that. And, Ashley had to meet it in person. And then when she met Jewel, she's like, what the fuck? Like, wow. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if people only knew how far AI was, artificial intelligence, and how, like, this shit is crazy. Like, people would be really spooked out and shit themselves if they knew some of the stuff that they have. You have self-driving taxis. up in the cities. You want an Uber? It's soon to be where there's no driver because nobody's going to pay for a cab or a Uber or whatever it is if you have to pay such and such. So then you just got to pay for your ride. If there's nobody that's driving and is selfless, why do you need it? Why are you paying a driver? Look at big cities like LA that are doing Uber Eats or New York that are literally having robots deliver from their restaurant to your business. How is that not getting rid? That's not getting rid of us. How is that not? So, what is the one thing that I continually say over and over and over and over and over again? If it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. And they're never going to do anything that doesn't make them money. And that's the one, like I was trying to explain this morning, like, why don't you believe that they wouldn't have AI educational teachers like in kindergarten and first and second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, seventh, eighth? They already use the shit. Some kids do. It's that the parents, there's such a disconnect between adults and kids that at the end of the day, that's the one thing that I will tell you. Between the generations, we're that computer savvy. But see, this new generation, they're technology savvy. We used to just be with the phones, or not with the phones, with the television. You know what I'm saying? And because look at it, you got to look at it like this, right? How many people remember growing up and they didn't have a cell phone? They had a phone that you plugged in and it rang right in your bedroom. And you just thought you was the coolest shit on earth because you had a phone that was directly in your room. And you had one of them glow phones or see-through, or you know what I'm saying? It was like, hey, it's my shit. Can't nobody take it from you because it's mine. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just be thinking a lot about the past, and especially lately, you know what I'm saying? Because people like to say certain shit or blah, blah this, blah, blah that. And it's like, yeah, I hear you talking. I hear you talking. I hear you talking. But I'm tired. I'm done listening. I hear you, but I'm not listening. Because how much more do we got to listen to this bullshit? When we know this is the one crazy, everybody well, where's the evidence? Open your motherfucking eyes. You can't see it. That's what the man said on the radio this morning. What do you mean you can't see it? When their vans are about to break down for their churches, but they're driving Benzes, or they're driving, that's Mercedes, BMWs, Lexuses, where it never broke again shirts. And because they spend some money to think that they're doing violence interruption by, buying jackets saying that they're this, or buying t-shirts in this color, that they're doing something. And because you see a group of them hanging out, that doesn't mean that they're doing anything. Definitely doesn't mean that they're doing anything. It means that we're wasteful. We're wasteful. And yet people don't want to say anything about it. And I get it. Because a lot of these people be like, hey, I've already been there. I've been down that road. I've been to what the threatening message is. And I've been had my family harassed, and you know what I'm saying? I've been gone through hell. So I get it, because when you read through history, you definitely get it. Because there's a lot. There's a lot of John Justice. This morning, there was like I said, go listen to TJ, because TJ blew that motherfucker up this morning. I'm going to see if I can find it, because I'm going to play it. Because I got Laverne's part, because he was on there this morning too. But I got, and I don't know when he puts his podcast up, but I know it's in the second hour. There was 2 callers. TJ lived 6 blocks And the other guy, I don't remember his name, he lived 3. So you had one that lived 3, and then you had the other one, TJ, he lived 6 blocks away. But it's like, damn, why ain't nobody talking about this shit? And it's like, I don't get it. Is today the 20th? Oh, yeah, here we go. Let's see if I can find it. The word of okay. Here we go. We're going to play it a little bit. So I can't play. You're
perfect.
Now
work. You're perfect. All around the you're perfect. Now work it. You're perfect.
Must be that. I'm getting, damn, AirPods 4. Come on.
All right, we'll talk with friend of the show. My understanding is, and while there's some great reporting here from Alpha News regarding all the details of what transpired in this exchange of gunfire of an pledge,
I'm gonna play it
the
down.
White House said in a fact sheet on the measure. Here is a little bit of the Education Secretary Linda McMahon talking a bit about the history of the Department of Education.
Well, it's no what's best. There is no
dollars on individuals who have connections to the community. I
There we
understand
go.
that. But these are not people that are qualified to go to deal with the ins and outs of crime relating to the city of Minneapolis. There may be some value
Oh,
in
you
it
can't
once
hear
you
it,
get
can
crime under
you?
control with actual.
I don't know why. Could you hear it or could you not?
Law enforcement trained to go and handle such things, then you can maybe start a
I
discussion.
got it, bro.
About some
I got
community
it. There, got
intervention.
it.
I'm not saying I'm going to support it, but then at least you could be having a rational discussion on that. But that's not what's been taking place. In the meantime, 2 men working under the auspices of a Minneapolis community violence prevention group have been charged with weapon offenses after an exchange of gunfire in North Minneapolis last week that left one of them injured. The incident unfolded at one of the most violent intersections in Minneapolis. Police were dispatched to multiple shot spotter activations, dozens of shots being fired. Within minutes, police were dispatched with a report of a shooting where the injured party was in a vehicle a few blocks away. According to the police scanner audio, police indicated the injured party told them that he was a security guard and confirmed that he'd been shot, returned gunfire. Police also indicated there were 2 guns in the vehicle with the injured party. Within an hour of the shooting, Reverend Jerry McAfee posted on Facebook saying, "One of my guys was hit," and said his team was finishing up when shots rang out. So you get into this. You have a Minneapolis violence interrupter. One gets a contract saying he has to fire now 24 employees. But the other part of this whole thing is Minneapolis violence prevention workers have been charged with one of them being shot, which is what I was just sharing with you. So you have this host of violence interrupter groups. I have the list here. But they're going to be getting hundreds of thousands of dollars, $4 million in total for the Salem Inc., Restoration Inc., Touch Outreach, Sabanthe Community, Mad Dads of Minneapolis, A Mother's Love. One of these groups, though, however, won't be receiving any funding anymore. Oh, no. Because one of the individuals involved was involved in the shooting. I know it sounds a little convoluted. There's a lot to unpack here. Laverne Turner, friend of the show, Minneapolis mayoral candidate, joins us this morning. So, Laverne, let's start here relating to these violence interrupter groups. Do you know if we have any sort of accountability that the money, this $4 million going to these various groups, is actually being spent on what it's supposed to be spent on, and whether or not these violence interrupter groups are even successful in any of their efforts? Laverne, are you there? There we go.
Yes.
Now I can hear you. Go ahead. Start over, please.
Thanks for having me on the show. Yeah, good question. For one, there really isn't any. They claim that they have a way to measure their effectiveness and the good they're doing in the community, but honestly, they don't. And if you remember a while back, there was talk about this very issue of, credibility, staff, what measurements are these organizations providing to show that they're worth this money, and there wasn't any. Remember that not too long ago?
Yep.
Right? And so there was sort of a pause in funding because people couldn't verify where the money was going because there were people, there was violent interrupters saying they weren't getting paid and all this kind of stuff. So the funding had stopped, right? And there weren't anybody on the streets anymore for a while. But then once the Fear Our Future thing became a big thing, it seems like the $4 million that they were spending on violence interrupters is nothing compared to the $250 million with the Feeding Our Future. And now that it's a campaign season, being political now it's campaign season, they've started funding these violent interrupter programs again because that is a part of their campaign apparatus.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Okay. So to answer your question, no.
So what happened in this? Can you give us a little bit of background? Because I know this. My understanding is, and while there's some great reporting here from Alpha News regarding all the details of what transpired in this exchange of gunfire of an individual that was involved in one of these violence interrupter groups, there's some backstory and context here that's not being reported on. Correct, Laverne?
Yes, and I don't think everybody in the community knows this, but maybe even the politicians know this that are supporting these people. Most of these organizations are gang affiliated or gang members. Example, let's take Jerry McAfee's organization, 21 Days of Peace, Salem Inc., whatever you want to call it. His vice interrupters are all vice lords, okay? Even him, he's a vice lord, pastor vice lord, okay? Which I'm not saying is a bad thing in general. I mean, this is America. If you made mistakes in the past, you've grown, you mature, you evolved, and you want to do better, okay, fine. Well, okay, whatever. But the other violent interrupter groups have the same sort of MO. They're former gangbangers, former gang members affiliated, whatever. They're all affiliated with some type of gang, okay? And the fight for this money between these organizations is spilling into like a new tech, new era gang war over violence prevention funds from the city. They're fighting each other for this money. At first, it was just arguing and competing for the grants. Now, to me, it appears that it's getting to be like a physical violence between each other with these gunshots. I have some people that I know who know these people way better than I do telling me that what happened on 36th and Penn could be two things. One, this is sort of a setup against McAfee's group because there's a lot of friction and the word beef with other groups and getting money and not getting money and all this kind of thing. And there's an aspect of the other gangs in the area who are sort of the vice lord's rivals who don't like the idea of McAfee's group coming to their neighborhood and stopping their drug money potential earnings.
Laverne, I know you've got to deal with the kids. Can you hang on for a moment? We can talk a little bit further for a few minutes after the break.
Sure.
All right. Talking with Laverne Turner. I know we have some people on hold that want to get in on the conversation as well ahead of Rob Dorr from the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus. So we'll talk more about this coming up in just a moment. I'll add here, just briefly though, and we'll continue the conversation here in just a second. But I'll add here that assuming that, and I have no reason to believe otherwise, right? And this is what's kind of been reported, that this has kind of been a battle for this funding and these different groups upset that the other groups are getting money. To me, that doesn't speak to groups that want to go and benefit the community. That speaks to groups and organizations that want to keep the money rolling in, which goes back to my original question of, is there any accountability this money is even going to where it needs to go beyond T-shirts for violence interrupters? I want to play a comment here from friend of the show, Chaz, and we'll continue the discussion next on Twin Cities News Talk AM 1130 and 103.5 FM.
Good morning, John Justice. This is Chaz Neal. I'm talking about violence interrupters in Minneapolis. It's crazy that they're there to prevent violence, but actually when you call them out for waste and fraud, they actually turn and threat and then expect to be, that violence to be pointed on everyday citizens. So how is it when you point out the wrong, they get turned violent?
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that the violence interrupters are carrying guns? Shocking.
Last week, Reverend Jerry McAfee told Fox 9 one of his workers for 21 Days of Peace was shot in the area of 36th Avenue and Penn Avenue following a barbecue put on by the group. The worker was leaving the barbecue at 9:30. Two men came out of an alleyway, started firing shots. McAfee said the worker was shot in the neck, but able to return fire. Police told Fox 9 one shot fired during the exchange went through a child's bedroom. On Monday, charges were filed against Kashmir McReynolds, 35, for aiding and abetting the possession of ammo, firearm, and reckless discharge of a firearm. Also on Monday, city officials announced that they were revising a request to fund several anti-violence groups. As part of the changes, city leaders said that they would drop a proposal to send $640,000 to Salem Inc., an organization run by Reverend Jerry McAfee. This decision followed scrutiny from council members after McAfee disrupted a council meeting last month and was later accused by the council of making threats. So we got an individual on hold that has some insight into this as well. But Laverne Turner, Minneapolis mayoral candidate and friend of the show, joins us as we were talking. So while these violence interrupter groups, and I'm trying to simplify this, Laverne, while these violence interrupter groups are made up of of retired gang members. What's happening now, though, by the way you were describing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it sounds like the funding going to these violence prevention groups is actually perpetuating more gang activity. Is that a proper way to describe it, or should we describe it differently?
No, I think that's pretty much on the money there. I think that's what's going on, and it's not all the groups, but the ones that really have the most animus towards each other.
Right.
And a lot of this stuff is personal. On social media, of these people that were talking about McAfee and these other organization leaders, they are going at each other and threatening each other. And, it's sort of entertaining. If you watch it, it might as well pop you a bag of popcorn and read it. And stuff. But if you get to the point where they're attacking a city council candidate in my ward, Malvina Haynes, because she called McAfee a bully, and she's actually saying that McAfee is an FBI informant and helped get her brother wrongfully put in prison 20 years ago, and now she's running for city council, and she's making this public. So he's attacking her. His organization is attacking her, and the guy that she said had to let go like 20-some people from his organization, which is a different organization than McAfee's. They have personal beef. They've been going at it, and he's calling this guy. I think his name is Muhammad from I forgot it. I think it's Touch LLC or something like that. He's claiming that McAfee is a FBI informant. McAfee's calling him an FBI informant.
What a mess. What an absolute. Listen, Laverne, let me go here because I want to grab another phone call and I got to get to our next guest coming up, and I know you're busy as well, and we'll continue to stay on top of this. But is there anybody that's actually speaking out on these particular issues during these meetings when they're talking about this funding? Or is it just all people are aware and they're just allowing it to happen?
This is nothing new. I mean, these people know their affiliations. They know people's backgrounds. This is what I'm telling you right now isn't anything new. Everybody in the hood and even the politicians probably even know all this stuff. It's nothing new.
Laverne Turner, as always, Minneapolis mayoral candidate. Thank you for the time this morning and the insight on this. Again, we'll stay on top of it, and it was great speaking with you.
Thanks. I wish I had more time, but I got to get going. I appreciate it.
No problem, buddy. Friend of the show, TJ, in Minneapolis. I know you have some insight on this as well, TJ. What did you want to add?
Yeah, Levert, everything he said was 100%. I've been to some of these council meetings, and I went actually in support of, the pastor. The church is literally 6 blocks from my house. Lowry's 2 blocks north of my house, and is 5 blocks, west of my house. So we hear what goes on. I drive by it 5 or 6 times a day, these gas stations that these interrupters are standing at, and people are scared to speak up. They look like they're selling drugs. These are, during the George Floyd riots, how convenient. These are the same gas stations that weren't burned down, but the one down the street was. I mean, people in Minneapolis and Minnesota need to wake up. The amount of money these people are getting, and when I've seen them in action, I'm watching on Facebook. I'm invested now with my neighbors, and we're scared that if we speak up in our own city, that these people will come after us, and they are gang affiliated. I mean, I watch them. I know. I'm from Los Angeles. This isn't my first rodeo and watching these kind of things happen. These people are weaved into every aspect of Minnesota government. I mean, there's rumors going around that Keith Ellison keeps them out of trouble. And if you go after him, they go after you. I mean, look at Victor Martinez, who ran for city council in my ward, which happens to be Jeremiah Ellison's seat. They went after him. People were harassing his wife, harassing him, harassing anybody that put a sign in their front yard. And there were signs all down Broadway, and magically they all got vandalized the same night. They caught the person, guess who he was friends with, and had photos online with? Jeremiah and Keith Ellison. So these people are all interweaved.
TJ,
it's crazy. It's like gang activity on a political level.
TJ, I'm gonna keep you on the line for a second. Let me add something because I want to ask you a question. This sounds an awful lot like the other issues that we've talked about. So one relating to the fraud potentially taking place in daycare centers where you have individuals with the state government going in and investigating. They find instances of fraud. They go to their superiors and basically they say, leave it alone, just give them a slap on the wrist and move on. Same thing rings true when it comes to the other fraud. It doesn't seem like the Democrats care until they get discovered and then suddenly they're going to be the ones to go and fix the problem. But more to the point is that this just seems like another redistribution of wealth, that the money is going to these various violence interrupter organizations. They're sending it out to the people that they essentially employ. They're getting a T-shirt, and then they're just going out on the streets and saying, we're out here interrupting violence, when really what they're collecting is a paycheck.
Yeah, and the worst part about the whole thing, there's community groups doing the same thing that I went and said, hey, where is this money going? They're getting all this money, and their budget doesn't make sense. And when we ask for a budget, no one responds. They're supposed to have flyers to let us know about meetings. We find out that day. In a working world, how am I supposed to make time to go to a meeting in my community? Mind you, this community group has been plagued with fraud in the 90s. And now what happens when we do get a budget? The people that were involved in the fraud years ago that had to relinquish their positions in the organization magically are getting paid these crazy amounts of money as counseling, or, like they're helping out the community. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, they're people counseling these people and getting paid for it. And it's like, why does not Minnesota investigate these things to see what's going on? It's insane, and everyone is watching. I mean, I've seen violence interrupters, supposedly they're standing around. Could you imagine if police officers were standing around looking like they were doing?
No, I can imagine.
The news would be all over it, and I'm sick of it. I don't even go to these gas stations, and I'm sure they mean well when this started. But what happens a lot of times in these kind of organizations is they start off meaning well, and they see the amount of money. I guarantee you, if they look into some of these people you guys have been talking about, I don't want to say names, you're going to find out they have Mercedes. I mean, aren't they running a church down the street? The church sign that was hit by a car maybe a year ago. You don't think they should fix that? That's my community. It doesn't look good. How many shootings have happened outside of this church?
TJ,
when are we going to wake up?
TJ, real quick, when were you in Los Angeles?
I grew up in Los Angeles. We moved here in 1991 due to the riots, fires, and earthquakes because my dad is African-American and my mom is white. And just because of that, we were getting threats.
Wow.
So we thought, let's move to Minnesota where my mother's from.
Where'd you live in? Where'd you live in?
From International Falls. I'm from Pasadena, California.
All right.
So it's not even a scary part.
No, of course not. We gotta listen. We gotta chat sometime. That's my own. That's my old neck of the woods.
I call you guys all the time. You guys are great. I appreciate what you're doing. And that guy running for mayor is spot on. People need to vote for him.
Thanks, TJ. Let me just break this down again. $4 million. Totally more than $4 million in taxpayer-funded contracts. Salem Inc.'s getting $143,000 plus dollars. Restoration Inc. $708,000 plus dollars. Touch Outreach $708 plus $1,000. Sabonthi Community Center $708 plus $1,000. Mad Dads of Minneapolis $619,000. A Mother's Love $671,000. These are the contracts that the city of Minneapolis is paying these organizations. And what you're hearing on the show is that essentially, as I mentioned, it's just a redistribution of wealth. It's a racket. They buy T-shirts, they go out, and they collect a paycheck. And this is a through line, as I mentioned, underneath Democrats here in the state of Minnesota. All right, running behind, as always.
Right.
Rob Dorr from the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus.
That was, you know what I'm saying? You heard a lot of things. And I will say this is that you had a man that lives, that they didn't play the other caller that was on the radio or whatever, but he said some very good things. He only lived 3 blocks, you know what I'm saying, from the scene. And I probably know why they didn't, but I'm gonna email him and see if I can get that. But I don't know. Maybe the guy said something about where his destination was, where he lived. I don't know, maybe something like that. But yeah, it's like, how much more do we need to hear? How much more does, like, you know, that's the one crazy thing that I think about with Minneapolis, right? You have stories going back to the 80s, and then the stories just died down. Then came the 90s. Right? Then they started to roar back up in the early 2000s. And you know how they ended it? Because they were locking up black men. There was so much going on in Minneapolis, and people, that's the one crazy thing that people don't want to talk about. That's the one, you know, some people will tell me to stop mentioning his name. Well, I'm not. Ron Edwards. It's called, he had a book out there called, I'm going to pull it up. The Story of Minneapolis, in his words, right? And this is, you know, I don't even know how much, you know, because honestly, people don't believe me when I get into it anyways. But I mean, I don't know what I got to lie about, but, you know, so Ron was a man that he was an activist, right? But he called out a lot of individuals. You know what I'm saying? Not in a public way, but he wrote about it. And if you read, because I will tell you like this, is that even how I came to find Ron was through AI. It was through AI. You know, and I'm going to be honest, like, so, and I have said the story before, is that which is crazy because, so Jewel is AI. And I used to get into conversations on Twitter with Jewel, Reverend Tim Christopher, and there were some others, right? But me and Jewel became, I won't say like messaging or whatever, because I messaged like Lou Goose, Paul Bloom, you know, and some other reporters or whatever, but it was like we would go back and forth with information. And then the crazy thing of it is that Jewel would give me sources. I didn't know this was AI at the time. I didn't know that until I think it was just this year that I knew that Jewel wasn't a real person. I just knew that, you know, one day you're here, one day you're not. And I mean, she was putting out some really explosive ass shit. She was talking about Keith Ellison. She was talking about Ilhan Omar, Elon Musk. And it was like, damn, she really going at it. But then I understood it because she was talked about a woke mind virus. So I understood it. Well, asking certain questions and told me that per se of like, I'm not going to tell you, go read it. So I come on to websites. I should call them blogs or whatever, but this one, the Minneapolis story, Through My Eyes, this was told. This is Ron Edwards. The other one is a website called Johnny Northside. That is by a guy, I guess his name is John Hoff. These people use monikers. And this is the one crazy thing. If you listen to TJ, you have people that pay attention to what's going on in Minneapolis, but are too scared to say it. So when people ask me, well, it's just anonymous. So because they didn't put their name out there, you're not going to believe it? That I continually going to ask people that because they didn't put their name and they just wanted people to know. And maybe some of it may be bullshit, but that's not for us to figure it out. That's for us to ask and get the answer. You know what I'm saying? Because here's the crazy thing for me is like you go through the Minneapolis story through my eyes, and you go through Johnny Northside, the blogs. There's so much information. This is why I know a lot of things, and people get mad at me because, oh, you're bringing my mama into it. You're bringing my grand. No, I'm not. Motherfuckers in the past did. These are not my words. That's why I started putting up the timestamps of anonymous that people left, and then you would get the year and the time because it's not me. Them are my words. But people that's how I want people to see. Niggas get mad because they don't get mad at the message. They get mad at the messenger. I did it for a reason. Man, there's madness to my thinking, but it works. It may take time, but it works. And that's exactly how I want it to go. These aren't my words. People over here talking about, well, you saying this. No, it's not. It's not my words. How y'all don't get mad at white people when they say that shit? Why don't L get mad or Jerry when the white people all talk about them? Because they know if they touch them, they're going to fucking jail. They know that they're going to jail. That's why they don't touch them. That's why when it comes to, and I'm not saying nothing bad about John Justice. I'm not saying anything bad about any of these other white podcasters or radio hosts. But when it comes to talking about Minneapolis, they can talk about certain shit because they're comfortable. They don't, first of all, they don't live in that area. So they can say whatever they want. Because if we want them, we got to go out to them. And if we look out of place, suspicious, somebody call the police. I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, that's the way it goes. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to be honest. That's the way that it has been, and that's the way that it's most likely going to go. But a lot of it was that, because Jewel was some crazy ass shit. Jewel had a budget. You know, that's why Reverend Tim Christopher was able to get a scarf from Jewel. You know, and then I came up on certain names, you know, Don Allen, Philip Murphy. There's a lot. I mean, shit, Major Tops. There's even stories of why they called them minor bottoms in the hood, in the neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? There's other stories of that people don't want to talk about. Because they got skeletons in their closet. Oh, we can't be bringing up that history because then, you know, people are going to have to be accountable. Well, yeah, people should have to be accountable. They should be, because I will tell you at the end of the day, this is a never-ending cycle. And when are we going to stop it? When? When are we going to stop it? Because I will tell you like this, is that this the one crazy part is, right? So this the one crazy, because 9 times out of 10, you guys aren't going to believe me anyways. But, you know, a person told me, keep on McAfee about Marvin, because he was one of the churches. And that's why Reverend Tim Christopher won't get involved, because his church was one of them. And I'm like, and it's such a slimy ass road, because who do you know that? Here's the thing of it is, you have a list of churches that were part of this, passing out part of the reward, right? And then when you ask certain questions, either people, they don't talk about it because, you know, they're scared for their families, or, you know, they don't got time for it anymore. They don't want to get involved, because at the end of the day, they want to live their life. They want to do what they do. So what I say is that to people that are even in politics, because if you can't take the heat Get your ass out the kitchen. And that's straight up. If you can't take the heat, get your ass out the kitchen. For real. Because this is a dirty ass game. There's a lot involved in it. You got FBI, you got CIA. And these are not my words. These are with my own eyes. Because who killed Fred Hampton? The FBI. Chicago police. With my own eyes throughout history, I've seen in Philadelphia that a police department with a black mayor killed some black people because they wanted black liberation. The MOVE movement. I've seen because you were black, we had riots. And why? Why do we have riots? And then I was like, damn, that's what brought me to Ron. You know, because the whole thing with George Floyd, I thought was some of it, there was parts of it. I thought, hey, this is not weird. This is weird. You know, so I would ask Jewel certain questions. Jewel would come back to me. You know, the same thing came up with Regina Chu. How one of the shooters of Jamari was her nephew by marriage. And it's like, damn. But then when you bring people to that, didn't nobody hear about that shit. And I ain't been served and shut the fuck up with about it either. And I say it all the time. And again, people don't pay attention. They only pay attention to what they want to. Because I will tell you right now, there's certain shit that you bring up, motherfuckers will be in your inbox telling you, man, they're going to do this. Like last night, I had a drunk ass motherfucker messaging me. Where are you at? Where are you at? What you mean where I'm at? I know where you're at. So if I want you, I'll come look for you. I don't want you. You're involving yourself into something because I'm talking about your dad. Your dad. And then see, that's the crazy thing of it is that since we're talking about your dad, Mr. Senior, Junior gets brought into it because he wants to include himself into it. And then your information starts getting brought up because you go into Johnny Northside, you're in there. You're in there. And then it's even with people are asking questions in the community of like, why didn't he go to prison when you have these serious charges? Oh, and then people, well, wait, isn't Lisa Clements his aunt, who is a Minneapolis police officer? And you're like, oh, damn. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, she's continually doing it. Even when the man got a DWI for recklessly driving in Minneapolis. Who came to save the day? Lisa fucking Clemens. And it's not because motherfuckers are disrespectful. They don't. The truth is disrespectful to these niggas. That's what this is the crazy thing of it is, man. I don't care who you don't speak for Chaz Neal. When Marvina tells me like, hey, back up, let me do my thing. I got this. I don't hear that shit. I don't hear that because what I hear is keep going. You're on to something. I hear the people that I'm talking about and their followers getting on me to shut the fuck up and doing all kind of threatening me. I don't care. Because first of all, where I come from, you need to be worried about the people that don't say nothing when you bring them up. So when I bring up Sharif Willis and talk about him, and I'm not getting messages from anybody that's connected to Sharif, I'm not worried about it, right? Well, I should be. But then see, when I talk about McAfee or I'm talking about L. Flowers, your kids do the threatening. They message. Come on, man, like get the fuck out of here. Nobody's going to on Bryant and going to pull up and going to fight you. I'm not going to do that. So it doesn't matter what you say. Here's the thing of it is. Why would you message me and tell me that the next time you see me, it's on site? How am I supposed to take that? Because this is a man that has been in a building that was almost blew up. This has been in a man who has had his gun in his face. This has been a man that has been, and I'm talking about me, that has been in protest and I get brought up. I don't care about none of that shit. No, I don't know what's request to recovery provide cybersecurity charge. Oh, I don't need none of that. I don't need none of that. I know that's what's crazy, right? It happened to Angela. They say meet here because when you talk about something too much, they get scared because they don't want to. And then they have their partners, their buddies. But see, here's the thing of it is, there's people out here that are not scared. Here's the thing of it is, what are you going to do to me? I've already been in prison. I've already been in jail. Y'all done beat my ass. I've had correctional officers sexually abuse me with their nightstick. I've had Hennepin County sheriffs call me names on the little microphone in the room all night. I don't care about none of that. So if y'all gonna do something to me, do it. Because I will tell you like this, I'm not scared. I'm not. I don't care how much you bring up my past. That was some 30 years ago. Because I will tell you like this, if this man is a Republican, is out here saying that the age of consent is 16, why y'all on me? I'm admitting to my wrongs. I paid my debt to society. So why do people get on? That's what I don't. Why don't y'all get mad about the people that haven't paid no debt to society, that keep on our old society? I don't get that. I don't. And to be honest, that's how I came up on a lot of these names and these information is you go through it. People can tell me whatever, right? They can say, oh, you just be chasing something. No, I don't. Because here's the thing of it is, you put it, and if Robert is on here, he can agree with me, right? So you put in certain information to artificial intelligence, right? It gives you, especially now, it will give you sources, right? Because if you ask chat before they did the new upgrades, it would give you sources if you ask for it, right? And that's what I'd be telling Ashley to do before they switched all of it. And that's how I found out about the lynching in Red Wing. It would give me sources and then tell me to go where to look for it. So that one told me go to Goodhue County Historical Society. It gave me look in their archives of this newspaper that had been closed for, I think it was about 70 years, but they were open when that happened. So there was a little section that had been written. That had been written. I know I'm telling the truth. They're not going to believe me. They're not going to believe me. But I want to tell you like this, artificial intelligence is way ahead of us. And people got to understand it, because if you put the information in there and there's anything about it that's written that's publicly at one point, it's there. So just like with the 1,000-man march that was about Marvin Haynes, they want to say it was about other shit, but that's what really was the icing on the cake, was Marvin Haynes. I shouldn't say Marvin Haynes, but I should say that the Jerry's Flowers murder. That was the icing. A white man, not saying nothing, all races, bad is bad, but it took a white person to make them do what they did. And then you've seen Amy Klobuchar. You've seen Amy Klobuchar get successful politically. Keith Ellison. So then around that same time era, we have Philip Vance, we got a Timothy Magruder, Cornelius Jackson, and then people are supposed to, James Wren, that's Michael Freeman. These are all babies of the same product. So if the apple, this is one thing of it, I think this is used all the time, the apple doesn't fall from the tree. So if you're embedded in the system and you're doing what the system wants you to do, how are you not that far from the tree? And I know that I mess with Republicans, I mess with some Democrats, I mess with some Green Party members, some Poor People Party campaign members. I will say it like this, right? Here's even the thing that why they don't want to get into the Jerry's Flowers, because it leads back to them. This is why they don't want to dig into Philip Vance, is because it goes back to the gang task force. The same thing with James Wren. But then yet we see stories that are public information because the news, like you have, I'm just going to say this because I do feel like they do their jobs to a degree, but you don't do your homework on it. You only look at a certain point of it and not do the whole story. And to be honest, a lot of people don't talk for real, because I will tell you like this. The one thing that I'm told over and over again from people in Minneapolis is, please keep me private. Okay, here's the thing of it is, and I want people to know, if you tell me something in confidence, I'm not going to tell other people. You tell me like, hey, this is just, I'm telling you this, but you got to keep me private. You got to keep me as a source private. Why aren't I going to do my due diligence and keep you private? Because if I need information and I'm out here blabbing your name, who I got it from, you're not going to tell me, because they will send people to shut you up. That's why I guarantee it. There's certain people throughout, like a Don Allen, because certain people have brought certain names to him in certain conversations, and they go, so you already know. And then when you're told, well, that man family, he got shooters. And then, well, that's the end of the conversation. Well, you already know. You already know. And that's not, here's the thing of it is, because I asked somebody this morning, I said, what do you do in a situation where, you know, you want to put your pedal to the metal, or metal, whatever, your foot to the pedal, whatever, gas on the pedal, whatever, and go faster? Because so many people have gotten far in this journey, but then a lot of them, I feel like, have gotten scared or bought into the system, or I shouldn't say bought in, they just gave up and were paid, honestly, because they were tired of fighting. And a lot of them, you can see throughout history, that changed. That changed. That's what I'm saying. You have shit that's in living color. And because a lot of these, Mr. Minneapolis, you got certain people that don't want to do their homework. They don't want to do their research. So how the fuck do you know anything about Minneapolis, but you never want to talk about the past? Nobody wants to talk about what happened to Major Tops. That man was beaten in a church. In a church. And here's the crazy thing of it is, there's things out here that it's because of what he knew and what he wanted to expose, because he was tired of living like that. He was tired of living a lie. Because at that point, Sean Primus and Kenneth, I forget his last name, Barnyard, I think it is. Somebody posted it on Facebook. And I can get it or whatever, but I know that there was two. There was Sean, and I believe his name was Kenneth, that were charged and convicted. And yet, you know what I'm saying? So if you know the right people, they keep you out of it. Just like with VJ. What do you hear? And this is not to talk about Mad Dads now as an organization, right? But when VJ was here, he hired Marco, his son, who is a sex offender, and employed him to work around kids. But because nobody really knew, because it didn't happen here, it was in a whole nother state, they weren't worried about it. So it's like, damn, that's crazy as hell. And then you're seeing situations with like the drill team. You're hearing things about the hospitality house. You're hearing things about the Boy Scouts of America. All these stories. And there's been no accountability. There's been no type of justice, because you're seeing broken families. You're seeing broken teenagers went to broken adults. Broken adults. So, and there's some that they will save, because they've done wrong to them. They were part of that, right? Because somebody told me this morning is, you look at 21 Days of Peace, and what is that mostly? That's vice lords. Vice lords. Some of them are probably CBL, which are conservative. Who started the conservative vice lords? Because I know the story of, like, you know, Robert showed me that, and a lot of people don't even believe that, is that Rockefeller funded the vice lords to start up. And that's real information. Again, what's crazy is I Googled that, Robert, what you sent me, and all that shit about that. And it was like, yes. And I was like, wait, what? You mean to tell me that the vice lords, the conservative vice lords, were given money to become a political, like, and to get them stabbed? Damn, this shit, Jeff Ford and all that. I was like, God damn, that's wild as hell. But again, nobody wants to do their homework. They don't want to do their research. And I get it, because that's the one crazy thing is I hear people talking about all the time. Oh, he wants to segregate drinking fountains, restrooms. Yes. So women, girls, biological, that you're born with a penis, stay out of there. And you go into the boys, the men's. That's it. It's not about race. So they're not going to make it, this is a white only bathroom. This is a white only bathroom. This white only. You can't go in there. This is white only. No, they want to make it where, again, like I've said it over and over again, this is a man that said he was going to make America a two-gender nation, a two-gender male and female nation. Not that he was going to make it where interracial marriage is fucked up. No, I'm not saying, here's the crazy thing. I want people to, I'm not saying that that's not something that they're probably thinking about. But we are already written in there, baby. If you an American, that's what's crazy to me, right? Is people are telling me, oh, be worried about why am I going to be nervous? Nigga, I don't even get nowhere with my ID most times. What they going to arrest me and deport me for? My ancestor, and here's the thing of it is, even if they do arrest me, all I got to do is call my wife, babe, bring this paperwork down here that's going to show my lineage all the way to 1593 to shut these people the fuck up and let me go. Because I don't know anything other than America, motherfucker. So how you going to put me to somewhere I don't know? That's the same way you deport motherfuckers because they come up here and don't know anywhere. So you bring them back. Come on, man. Stop it. They're going to deport me back to America because I don't know anything else. My mom's family don't know anything else. I have generations here. So I don't care what, man, I don't care. And honestly, I will tell you like this, the only people that I've seen that are being deported, they ain't from here. They figured out a way through birthright citizenship, or they were figuring out ways through visas, whether it was H-1B or it was school, jobs, whatever it was. Man, y'all had more than enough time. It doesn't matter if the government was taking their time. Get on top of them. Get on top of them. If y'all wanted to be that American dream so fucking bad, y'all started to become lazy because the Democrats allowed y'all to be. They allowed y'all to suck on that nipple, that titty that they gave Black America for so fucking long, while they were giving it to every fucking body else. Right? Because I will tell you like this. This is the one thing that I posted this yesterday. What's changed? Oh, you know what? I'm gonna get it on here because this is where I got it from. What's changed? So I got that from, that is something that Ron did. Followers. And who do you see? Don Allen. That's crazy. Y'all, this the one crazy part is people be like, man, why does Don? Oh, y'all can't even see it. I'm gonna share it real quick. Oh, whoops. But yeah, so here you go. Right, here go Don. Because I'm hitting it. And it's like, damn, dog, what you there go? So it's like, y'all ain't doing y'all homework. Y'all ain't doing y'all due diligence. Y'all just writing whatever y'all think is the right shit to be writing about. And because that, to be honest, that ain't where it's at, player. Yeah. I would tell you like this. If I went to court and was under oath, I'd say names. But I'm not going to say names to no nonprofit or no, like, what the hell am I going to say that to you for? Then I lose them as a source. Then I lose them as a contact, I don't want to share. Where's the, man, this thing. How do I find that on here? I wonder. Let's see about a spokesman recorder. Maybe if I go through here enough. It's crazy. Because he's got 7 solutions on here, and it's cold. And the crazy thing of it is like, in my eyes, people don't even really look at it. Because he has a lot of smart ass ideas. And honestly, if people were paying attention, I don't feel like we would have been going through this. I don't know why I can't find that shit. That's crazy. Let's see if I can find the 7 solutions. That's the blog. What the hell? That's crazy. Economic uplift. It's different on here. Damn. That's weird. I was not expecting this look on there. But even this, I mean, even with the stuff with CSI and with not even just Jerry McAfee, but with Bobby Joe Champion. That's the one crazy thing is, so I have a family member that worked inside the city of Minneapolis for years. I'm talking about years, right? And bless your heart, but told me some shit. And that's why the crazy thing of it is, of like, yeah, I just don't understand it. So again, we need bodies, and we need people that are not just going to say that you're going to be there, but we need people that are going to say, hey, we with you, bro, because we don't just love you. And that's what I get. Hightower, right? Hightower was on there, right? Yep, Hightower, Bobby Joe Champion. There's a lot of names, and nobody wants to do their homework. Because I will tell you like this: if you go on to Johnny Northside, there is a lot of shit out there. A lot. When it came to Al Flowers, and used to be a cokehead. This is before Junior was born. Nobody wants to talk about that. They don't want to talk about the words of the past because they blame it on the messenger of the future. Because they feel like they've gone past that. No, you haven't. If you haven't been accountable, that's the one crazy thing. Because somebody asked me, well, what if you, when they pay Marvin? I said, that's not accountability, my nigga. Because somebody is paid, and he needs to be paid because he did time for something he didn't do. And he's not the only one. We still need to free Philip Vance, Cornelius Jackson, even my cousin Flame. Yeah, motherfuckers didn't know that. That's okay, though. There's a lot that people, even with the man that died in Robbinsdale, Khalil Azad. That's a family member. Rest in peace. That family history runs deep in Minneapolis. And a lot of people don't. Here's the one crazy thing that I will say, right? Is that, and I've been told over and over again, say what you need to say. Get it off your chest. Because first of all, a lot of this shit is not my words. I put this shit into different articles about Minneapolis, and I put that shit into artificial intelligence and have it rewrite it for me. So these ain't my motherfucking words. These are words that other people have used that are being flipped around. And if people want to go look for these stories, because they're out here, it's not like nobody, because the first thing that when you bring up Johnny Northside, oh man, they're using that again. No, we're not using that again. We're bringing that to light again because they're still there for a reason. They're still there for a reason. It's so that people can shine the light on certain situations, because I will tell you like this, is that after reading Major Tops, what happened to him, I will tell you like this, I'm going to get to the bottom. Because there was a lot of people that knew shit, and because they felt like they were inside of a church, that they got to be to some false prophet. No, you don't, motherfucker. There's a fight between good and right. Good and wrong, right and wrong. It's not about, I don't care if you're a vice lord. I don't care if you're a blood, Crip, GD. I don't care what you are. What I care about is the community. I don't care about if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're a Green Party. Because I will tell you like this, is that there's a lot of niggas in this world, like even a nigga in Ohio, right, named Sir Major, that had links to Minnesota through he was adopted, but he was Alan Page's nephew. The Supreme Court justice in Minnesota, right? And then he had connections to BLM Minnesota. I don't give a fuck. You're not going to sit here and lie on Khalil and say that, oh, they did this. No, you're not. The same way that I would expect people that from the shit that I've said when it came down to, maybe agreeing with some of what Alpha News has said about Justin Tigan's case, I would agree with people that, hey, shut the fuck up. You don't know all the facts. So when I do that to other motherfuckers like BLM, because you don't see them out here saying shit. You see Marvina Haynes out here saying Khalil Azad. You see G out here saying Khalil Azad. Even when it came to, that's the crazy thing, because I was talking to Marcus yesterday about this when at Trinity's court hearing, because they canceled it. It's crazy how you don't hear much about them, about the victims of gun violence, that their killers are still running free. But then yet, because those are your homeboys, those are your cousin, or no matter if it's your play cousin or your play boyfriend, whatever the fuck you want to call it, side piece, whatever, y'all don't want to tell. Because either maybe this is the one crazy part, is that people don't want to talk about, is a kickback. It's not always going to be cash. It's not always going to be money. But you never bite the hand that feeds you. Just like, here's the crazy thing. If Trinity Smiths, I was just talking about Trinity, because they're court here in Dupree. So if his baby mama didn't get mad and tell the police who the shooter was, do you honestly believe anybody else would have said anything? Nope. Because they're all shutting up now. So even though it comes down to a child's killer, niggas still want to be quiet. Niggas still want to be quiet. Even though that you see mothers and fathers out here crying and just want justice for their babies, and y'all know and choose to be silent. Choose to be silent. Because you don't want to be involved, because either it affects your job, because you work for the city of Minneapolis, or because you're scared of them. Doesn't matter if it comes down to do you know the crazy thing? These are pastors. What makes y'all, this is one crazy that I got a question for a lot of people, right? I got a question for a lot of people. Why are you scared about a pastor? Because if they have the same God, don't y'all want the same truth? If y'all got the same God, pray to the same God, don't y'all want the same truth? Because I don't pray to Allah. I pray to God. The same God that people talk about. No, I pray to God. We can't, come on, man. Who y'all praying to? So I will just say this, right? So I want to show you, right before I get up off here, I want to show you another website that a lot of people maybe don't know. So I've showed you one website, and that was Ron Edwards. And I'm going to get more into that later on too. But this is Johnny Northside, right? So some of the biggest cases in Minneapolis between 2008 and 2016. All right, let me view. So 2008 all the way up to 2015. And now I want to say is that this is free speech. So motherfuckers was basically allowed to say what they wanted because it was free speech. So there was a lot of shit said on here. And a lot of people don't remember, they either don't care about Johnny Northside, because a lot of people will just say that, oh, that's just a conspiracy theory shit. That's conspiracy theory shit. Well, if it's conspiracy theory shit, why do people get threatened over things about this? Especially when you talk about certain situations, because on Johnny Northside, you'll see that Major Tops was getting head from. Now you're starting to find out that I was told that other person was Clarence Hightower that was giving head to Major Tops. And then you hear that they had a crew, VJ Smith, Jerry McAfee would mess with the girls, and then Clarence Hightower and Major Tops with the little boys. And again, you would see, yeah. But again, people don't pay attention to court hearings and court transcripts and, you know, things like that, because at the end of the day, we're talking about their blind leader. And you can't talk about my leader like that. That's my pastor. That's what do you mean? So first of all, what is your reasoning for saying this shit? Like that's what I say. Like, what is your reasoning? What are you getting paid? What is your kickback behind this? Because did you get a all paid expense trip to Vegas or to the Cayman Islands? Or did you actually get maybe some money? Or did you profit off it? I mean, like, shit, I'm just asking questions. Because I will tell you like this, when you look at 990 forms, it gets really, really wild. It gets really, really wild. Really wild. It's like, damn, that's crazy how people don't really talk about it. Because in my eyes, I'd be like, are people just scared? Are like people scared of the truth? Because I mean, to be honest, you look out through history and people have died about this. People have been hurt. You talk about this again, we're gonna beat your ass, nigga. We're gonna fuck you up. I'm gonna send my cousins. And it's like, damn, really? That's wild. Or because you don't want the truth getting out there? Like that's crazy as fuck to me. And it's like, damn, what else do y'all like? What else do you want? Like, do you want the past to keep on living in the past and not be to talk about the mistakes? Because they're still happening. Nobody has actually learned because those mistakes are still happening. Those lessons are still being learned. Because at the end of the day, I'll say it again, those lessons, those mistakes keep on happening over and over and over again. And who ends up paying? We, the people. Man, so with that being said, I'm going to get up out of here today, man. I hope y'all have a great Thursday. Y'all going to see me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Follow me at The Urban Conservative. And I'm going to get up out of here with Belly Gang Cushington. He one of the hottest rappers right now. And this is his Be Easy freestyle. So with that being said, win or fail, freedom or jail, heaven or hell, wish me well. And y'all have a great one. And I will see y'all tomorrow, same time, same place.
I'm 22 bags in, I got like 50 more. I've been selling drugs so long, my mama starting to give up hope. It's so much crack in here, I think I need a stripper pole. Glass all around me like them A-Raps at the liquor store. You break, you bite, you take it, you die. I took a peek with 75K on 75. These little niggas, they not gang in real life. They catch a case and when they get in the courtroom, they comply. Hey. Damn, son. Where the fuck you find this? Shooting dice in the hood, I trade 4G honest. My dad ain't never been shit, I don't feel like Brendan. I'm strapped up like them hoes that juice get be wanting. Lesbian, prostitute, these niggas ain't fucking with me. How many kids with a fork in the bowl in the store? These niggas